Welcome to MarcusG.TV. I'm Chef Marcus Juliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is baking soda. If you've watched any of my videos on YouTube or found me through baking soda, they are my most popular videos. And I've experienced baking soda years ago with a lot of positive effects. I do not consume baking soda every day. However, here are some key points to baking soda consumption that may enhance your life. Keep in mind, I am not a doctor. I'm not perceived to be a doctor. I'm just going to tell you information that has worked for me, and then you can make your own decision. Carl.
Hi, Marcus.
Baking soda.
Absolutely.
What is baking soda used for?
Well, of course, it's a leavening agent that you put in your pancakes, and you can make them a little lighter and fluffier, as well as breads and everything else, brownies in particular. But baking soda is a natural substance that gets mined out of the ground and used in certain protocols to treat cancer by adjusting the body's internal pH.
So there are a couple medical doctors out there that have successfully used baking soda for cancer.
Correct. The most recognized is an Italian doctor named Dr. Tullio Simoncini.
Okay.
And Dr. Mark Sircus.
So one's from Italy, one's from the U.S. Dr. Sircus is from the U.S.
Dr. Sircus moved his practice to Brazil because of the constraints, I believe, of U.S. medical practice, so you could have an alternative clinic.
So there are a lot of restrictions when it comes to United States and certain other countries because the pharmaceutical companies have a chokehold on medical doctors and the whole medical system to begin with, because if they're not selling their drugs, they're not making money. I just want to give you a quick, super quick roundup on chemo. Chemotherapy is one of the only drugs that a doctor, the oncologist, actually buys and then resells. Other than that, you get a prescription and you go to get drugs. The oncologist buys for, let's say, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and then in turn they bill you $10,000. So they double their money at least and charge thousands of dollars. That's why oncologists are millionaires. Because you see 30 people a month and you're giving doses of chemo and you're making $5,000, but it goes to insurance, so who really ever sees these costs? So the chokehold that the pharmaceutical companies have on doctors that are doing stuff like this is immense. They don't want them out there doing what they're doing. So these two doctors have had very high success. I suggest you look them up and do some research on your own about them. And keep in mind, there's going to be websites out there that totally bash them because what they are doing is a threat to the medical big pharma. And chances are big pharma has actually posted those or sponsored those posts against them. So a website like Quackwatch is totally irrelevant to look at. Quackwatch, Dr. Stephen Barrett, was a doctor that couldn't even make it in his own practice. He barely had, I think, 7 or 8 patients at one point, and he couldn't make any money doing what he was doing. So he found it was easier to bash therapies, alternative therapies, and he had so much more success doing that than actually practicing in his own practice. So there's a premise to everything that you read on the internet.
Exactly, Marcus. And in stressing the use of baking soda, this is one protocol in an arsenal of things that can be done. Diet being one, lifestyle being one.
Absolutely.
Other alternative supplemented protocols.
There's a lot.
There are another.
So let's go over the basics of baking soda really quick. Don't take it every day.
Absolutely not. There's Dr. Mark Sircus recommends a cycling program of 10 days on and 7 to 10 days off.
Perfect. What time of day should we be taking baking soda? Are they suggesting?
I believe it could be any time during the day, but we caution against not using it around any food because baking soda, being a buffer for acid, will neutralize stomach acid, and you do not want to impede stomach acid when you're in the middle of digesting your meal. So you want to use this away from food.
Away from food. So first thing in the morning would be great and fantastic.
And then wait 20 minutes to 30 minutes. I believe the average time it takes for your stomach to dump contents into the lower digestive tract is 20 to 30 minutes. If you're already impeded with digestion, you might want to wait a little longer than that, maybe 45 minutes to be safe.
The only time to ever take it with food in your stomach is when you're having acid reflux, ingestion, heartburn, when you actually need it as a boost to digest the food that's in your system. Things like Tums. This is what Tums does, okay? So taking some baking soda after a meal that is not making you feel good is highly beneficial right then and there for that acute symptom. Do not continue that practice if that practice keeps happening. because the real story is you're eating the wrong foods at the wrong time and the wrong combining.
And wrong combination.
So you can't keep putting the fire out with the fire hose. It's not going to solve the reason why the fire's on to begin with. But it works here and there for acute, and I've done it many times for acute flare-ups of acid reflux. I used to have acid reflux terribly bad. Now if I have it once a year, that's it.
There are other supplements that you could use. You could use a teaspoon or so, or a tablespoon of raw, organic apple cider vinegar to help digestion.
That helps.
And also some fresh squeezed lemon water
That
in
helps
a small
too.
quantity. Both of those things can actually aid in that acid digestive issue when you've done the bad thing of combining.
I always recommend people, if they were out drinking a lot, drinking baking soda after getting drunk helps, but again, you shouldn't be getting drunk to begin with. But baking soda, what it does is it helps you dump lactic acid, which is why athletes like it for endurance. They take it before endurance events. It can help shave 10% of their time off. Beijing Olympics were known as the soda doping Olympics because a lot of athletes were on it. Horse jockeys used to give it to their horses. Horse trainers used to give it to their horses because it helps, again, dump lactic acid and helps improve times. And if you're in a swimming match in Beijing Olympics and you can shave 10% off of your time, that's the difference of one hand being in front of another swimming. So every competitive edge they can, and it's totally legal. Soda doping is totally legal. So athletes, heartburn, the two doctors that were doing it for cancer, just normal maintenance to raise your pH, which we didn't talk about. If your pH is low, your saliva pH.
Right. You want to test your salivary pH first thing in the morning, and a healthy body is in the 7.4 to 7.5 range, but let's say 7, which is neutral, to about 7.475. If you're in a dis-ease state and you test your salivary pH and it's lower than 7, it's in the 6 range, let's say 6.5 or 6 to 6.5, 6.8, 6.9, you're not necessarily going to be the healthiest individual in that case. And then you want to bump your salivary pH by using the baking soda protocol recommended by Dr. Mark Sircus, again, in 8 to 8.2, and not higher than that. There's a sweet spot here.
There's a correlation with lower pH, body pH, saliva pH, with cancer, correct?
Correct.
I mean, like a drastic. What are some of those numbers?
Okay, so I did a little bit of research in testing the pH. This was an informal poll done online testing salivary pH, and if you tested a salivary pH, and this was 815 people out of 1,718 people, almost half who had cancer had a salivary pH of 4.5%. That's 47%. That's insanely high.
That is insane. And when you're drinking soda, when you're eating steak, when you're drinking whiskey, when you're eating white bread, when croissants, bagels, cream cheese, eggs, bacon, that's going to get you into that low pH, as well as a thought process and a stressful environment. All that makes a huge difference in your low pH. And even the quality of air you breathe, the quality of water you drink, everything makes a big difference. So 10 days on, Carl, check your saliva first thing in the morning. Before anything, after a good night's sleep, check your saliva. You bump it up with baking soda, and 10 days on.
And 7 to 10 days off.
7 to 10 days off, and you monitor your pH. But the real thing here is eat healthier, drink healthier, think healthier, live healthier. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching this. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and share this video. Please pass it on.
I can't stop it tonight. This epidemic, I'm trying to fight.